Here I am in Thunder Bay, Ontario. The purpose of my trip here is to help my son move out of this town. It's actually quite nice later in the afternoon, and I decided to take a walk. No, that's not Devil's Mountain from Close Encounters of a Third Kind. This is called Mount McKay, I believe, and it's part of a reservation, Fort William Reservation, where actually I paid a visit to yesterday with two of my sons and one of my son's girlfriends, and it was kind of enjoyable. It reminded me of some sort of like real permaculture farm, but basically it's a recreation of a settlement in the 1700s that actually was self-sufficient. And this is the kind of thing that I'm seeing close to the neighborhood where my son lives. In a very shocking way, I'm finding a lot of dilapidated household situations. I want to pay respects to these people. I don't want to diminish them, but that's the kind of little house. You can see driveway is in decay. Lots of I don't mind the property being unkept because there's a lot of indigenous species and locals that grow, but it's basically everything here looks sort of depressed economically, and you're seeing a lot of these campers, old campers and old trailers and rundown automobiles and such parked in the driveway like you're seeing here. But on the weird side, you have a lot of vegetation. I noticed here a lot of meadows that basically due, I guess, to the lack of income and money. You do have a lot of natural habitats that are just going gangbusters by themselves. And obviously you have this kind of thing, right, running through town, the power lines. So I think that's a no-no, having your living situation a few hundred feet from a power line, like in this situation. Of course, railway lines. I guess Thunder Bay at one point might have been booming back in the 50s and 60s, perhaps a part of the 70s before the oil embargo years. And it's probably being sustained now by government funding and programs, because it's very, very depressed here. These houses seem to date back from, I would say, generally the 1950s, part of this post-Second World War drive to house perhaps war veterans, and also to accommodate young families. And I'm sure Thunder Bay was just like beautiful and booming here, but now this is kind of what you see. It's it looks half abandoned, if not more than half abandoned. But as I said, you got these beautiful wild communities of plants just expressing themselves here. I'm not going to name all of them. This is not the purpose of this video. But I do see lots of wild fruit trees. I'm seeing Prunus virginiana, chokecherry. I think that's one of them right there we're staring at. Tanacetum over here. There's tons of them. Sorry for the noise. There's some utility truck dropping by. But here I'm getting closer. You can see the size of Mount McKay, and I'm gonna try to hike it tomorrow. If not, apparently we can get there by automobile. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do tomorrow. And there's some sort of industry over here. It's something in my mind that reminds me of an old Cronenberg film, like something from Scanners or whatever. But where you have basically industry encroaching on nature. Of note, I think, if I recall correctly, this mountain here, I mean, you know, for people living out west, this is not a mountain, right? But it's like a pimple. But I believe it's either 1.2 or 2.1 billion years old. So, you know, I have to show my respect. But look, you see this kind of thing. A lot of abandoned warehouses, shops. This says Mahon Electric. I guess it was some sort of supplier for electrical products, who knows. But like I said, it's very kind of run down here. This is the kind of thing you see, and a lot of you watching this, perhaps this will resonate with you, and there's something like this nearby in your province or state or in your community. I'm referring to North America, because you see this kind of thing a lot now in North America. And but I'm going to be very respectful and polite towards the citizens of Thunder Bay. See these little tiny houses, and well, all kinds. This is like the back end of an old pickup. It's just lying there. It is what it is. It's in my mind, it's a sign of economic, social, and even to a certain degree spiritual demise or decay, if you will. There's something here. You could see the entropy happening here. And but like I said, I think this is a big old lilac. It's obviously not indigenous, so at this point I don't really care. But like some of you have seen these kinds of things before. Again, I would say back in the 1950s or 60s, this was probably pristine. This city was probably vibrant. Look, and I'd like to finish this video by actually, there you go, pointing to a pretty nasty looking cell tower up there. So that's basically what the situation is in here. My son's girlfriend basically got an opportunity for an employment, and they moved here close to a year and a half ago. And you know, when you're young, it's difficult to find employment that's related to something you studied in. And she basically bit the bullet. My son followed. His work is pretty much done all online. So, you know, he just came for the experience and basically to make sure that things were safe for his girlfriend. But now they've had enough, and they're moving to another location in the province of Ontario. So they'll be much closer to where I reside, which is in Montreal. I split my time between Montreal and the Laurentians in Quebec. And this, you know, I made the drive last year, was 22 hours plus from Montreal to Thunder Bay. I flew in this year, which was much faster. And but basically we're going to move my son and his girlfriend out, and so they can basically have a little change of scenery. Basically, I thought this was very depressing. I was hoping that they would have moved out a little earlier, but that's not my life. It's my son's life. He's in his young 20s along with his girlfriend, and it's up to them to, you know, it's part of learning and gaining experience in life, and basically filtering things as far as what you like and want and what you don't want to surround yourself with. And at the end of the day, it's basically, I think it all amounts to some sort of spiritual journey. But in as much as I would say that as a plant person and an artist, I really admire what's going on here with these improvised community of plants taking over. I think that's kind of like basically very interesting. I find it's something that I think big cities should do more often. They're so afraid of the whole tick scare and ragweed and all this, and yet this is how you attract biodiversity, by letting things go a bit, and nature will self-regulate. As hopefully we will self-regulate ourselves in our own lives. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to say goodbye for now to Mount McKay.